Our first guest, Precious Bivings, especially known as Coach P, is a recognized mindset performance coach, acclaimed MC, TEDx speaker, and host who helps influencers, leaders, and badasses grow from stuck to a success mindset. Her straight shot, no chaser approach allows for authentic self-reflection that undoubtedly leads to eliminating your limiting beliefs that impact your success on every level. Her coaching practice, Surrender, Work, Live, coaching and accountability is the vehicle she uses to empower leaders to eliminate excuses and mash the gas in order to make amazing success happen. She is the host of the highly anticipated MashCon 2020 conference, the More Retreat for Leaders, Influencers, and Badasses, and the author of the self-help memoir, More Tequila, Please, Life Lessons on Heartbreak, Triumph, and Making Amazing blank happen, right? Let's do that. To connect with Coach P, you can visit her on her website, MashCon ATL, and then I'm sure she'll give you more resources and ways you can connect with her as well. And I see you guys coming to chat. Keep those comments coming in. I want to know who you are, where you're from. Without further ado, let's bring in Coach P, a.k.a. Precious Bivings. What's up, Precious? How are you today?
Hey, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I'm grateful to be here. I didn't mean to have you saying amazing so many times.
Yeah, you got to do better with that bio. You've got to do better with that bio.
I'm super grateful to be here. I am excited. I'm rooted and grounded, and just grateful that I'm in a space where I can share my perspective on how we can go higher in this space. So, how are you today?
You know what? I'm determined. How about that? I'll say that's a word, right? Because I'm determined. Whenever crisis comes, what I'm determined to is make sure that my people get through it okay. So
Yeah,
that crisis doesn't matter if it's COVID crisis. It don't matter if it's riots in the streets, like whatever it is. I want to make sure my people are good to go and that they have what they need. And that's why I'm thankful for you and the other experts that are coming to the table today so that we can do exactly that, make sure our community has what they need in order to move forward, in order to progress along what they need to progress along. Because even though all this crazy stuff is going, like people still got kids, right? And
absolutely.
your kids not only need to be aware and know about this conversation going on, but they still got to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like they still got to move forward. Some of you still got to wrap up the school year, right? So like how do we do all of this stuff when there's so much craziness going on? And I'm just curious, like before we even get started, like what are you hearing? Because I know you're having conversations with people. You've been speaking on some different platforms already. Like what are you hearing in relation to how people are feeling and processing what's actually happening?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start with what I'm hearing just from my 16-year-old. You know, she has friends who parents have different perspectives, and hearing her frustrated, almost to tears, and then reminding her, of how she can show up and contribute in this space has been important. We're in Atlanta, and so there's a lot of anxiety around what's happening in the city. There's a lot of disappointment, frustration. There's a lot of people feeling helpless, feeling exhausted, feeling tired, feeling like what can I do? What am I supposed to do in order to contribute to this? I'm hearing a lot of people also, just like you, who are determined, who are clear, who are ready, who are saying this looks bad, this looks crazy, but I know we're going to another level because for every opportunity where we feel, contrasting experiences, there's another opportunity for us to move in the direction of us showing up knowing that we are who we've been waiting for, as you often say. So I've been seeing it on both sides of the fence, and glad that I have been, because that just shows the array of emotions that's happening in this time and space.
All right. So I love that. And as we talk about these emotions, right? So for one, I'm always big to say, even when I talk about my own emotions, right? Or when sometimes emotional, not emotional, right? Always big to say that I think that everyone processes things in their own way.
Sure.
And I'm real clear on that, right? Everybody processes things in their own way. And one of the things I've seen a lot of, and can we be real?
Absolutely,
Right,
please.
let's get to it, y'all. And I want y'all to be real in the comments too. Like I said, some stuff you may agree with, some stuff you may not. Let's jump into it. One of the things I've been seeing, and like I said, I'm not even talking about people outside of our community, but inside of our community, is a view on how we feel others should feel in this, right?
Mhm.
And I know, like outside of just in the work you do, period. A lot of times it's something we feel in our relationships, right? Like I'm in a relationship, I'm romantically in a relationship with somebody, and I think they should feel this way because I feel this way or that feel this way. I think they should process things the way I process things. But we're not seeing that with our Facebook friends and social media friends. We may not see that with our coworkers when some of us have to go back to work tomorrow, right? We may
Yeah.
not see that in our own families with our mothers and fathers, or our husbands and wives, or our children, right? Because the kids think they know everything. So our
Absolutely.
children, right? Like how do you deal with people? What do you tell people when they're upset because people don't see things through the same lens that they see it through?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most inflammatory perspectives right now that are getting a lot of people like fired up. Is like, well, this person doesn't see it like I see it. You should be able to see it, see my pain the way that I see this pain. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is to not take any of this personal. Everybody has their own experiences. Everybody has their own perspective, and everybody has their own contribution to this cause. I think that's one of the most important things for all of us to recognize is that we not every single person is going to be outside with a sign. Not every single person is going to be able to be a judge to change to change laws, or an attorney to fight in a courtroom. Not every person is going to be a police officer. Not every person is going to be down at the protest. Doing those things, but understanding that what you do, your genius, what you contribute, is not only enough, but it's impactful. And what that looks like for me is being able to honor, because it was a question that I had for myself, especially when the Ahmaud Arbery murder happened. That was a jolting experience for me, although I had felt it with Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and Sandra Bland and all of the many people that came before Ahmaud. That Ahmaud Arbery situation was like, wait a minute, you know, we seen this instance happen on video, and I couldn't even watch the video, but just hearing the descriptions of it, as a person who's in this mindset development space, I was triggered on all levels, and I felt like there was a specific way that I was supposed to show up based on the projections of other people. And it's no different like if you have a parent who dies or somebody who dies close to you, and you don't cry at the funeral like everybody else, so all of a sudden that must mean you don't love that person, and that's absolutely not true. But so when that situation happened with Ahmaud, it triggered something in me, and it caused me to respond differently still than most people were responding. Most people were responding with anger and frustration. And I sat with it for a minute. I took the time that I needed to take, not just as a mindset performance coach in this space of, mental health, but and personal development, but also as a woman and as a Black woman, as a Black mother, as a Black sister to a Black man. And so I showed up in this space of gaining clarity for myself. And in that clarity, I was able to recognize that my contribution, and this was through prayer and meditation, I was able to really get clear on, like, God, what's up? What are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What is Precious Bivings supposed to do in this space? And what I heard very clearly was that my contribution in this mindset, personal development space for us, by us, very unique perspective that I get to offer is a part of my contribution. And so yesterday I was on a podcast, and I was talking about this, and I mentioned you, Lamar, and Ronnie, and I also mentioned some other Black entrepreneurs and how Traffic Sales and Profit, Black and Married with Kids, this is a movement that's been going on. It's a contribution that's made every single day. And so when people don't see you post a picture or they don't hear your voice, what they miss is the work you've already done and you continue to do, you and your family, the sacrifices that y'all make to make sure that Black entrepreneurs get to show up in this space of empowerment, of clarity, and of actual wealth, right? And so what I want people to know more than anything is that how you show up, right? Whatever it is that you're a genius, if you're a manager at McDonald's, if you're a head of a janitorial department, you're a principal at a school, that is a part of your contribution, and it's going to look much different than anybody else's, and that's okay. James Baldwin showed up in this space of, he had real conflict about not being on the front lines. There were a lot of Black civil rights people that was pointing him out. Where you at, James? Why you ain't saying nothing? And James said very clearly, listen, I am showing up. I'm showing up in the universities when they ask me to interview, right? I'm showing up in these poetry books. I'm showing up in this literary area. I am showing up in this space. And now we still get to hear his voice way past the riots that was happening during his time, way past the marching that was happening during his time. We now still get to eat from that perspective that's still very much so timely. So I want more than anything for people to hear that you get to show up however it is best for you to show up so that you can make that contribution. And I know we'll talk about later on, additional ways to do that. But I want to say that off the top. The other thing is that it is absolutely normal. I want you guys to hear this. It is absolutely normal to feel anger, to feel frustration, to feel helpless, to feel disappointed, to feel even numb. It's normal to feel like, what am I supposed to do? It's normal not to have the answers. It's normal to be in this space. That's not a far-fetched thing. A lot of people have decided, listen, I have to cut it off so that I can show up for my family in this way, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck in the bed, stuck in this state of sadness, stuck in this state of this state of disappointment. And so you get to pull back. You get to pause and say, wait a minute. I have to reserve my energy for today. I got to make a different decision about what I allow to come in. I'm going to stay off social media today. I'm going to stay away from the news today, and I'm going to pull back. And so you get to do that as well. But I want you to hear that it is absolutely normal. I speak to so many different type of leaders on different levels, and all of them are challenged with the same thing. What do I do? And understanding that what you're already doing is a part of that contribution, I think is very important and necessary.
So I love that. And real quick, let me tell you guys again, right? If you're just joining us, my name is Lamar Tyler, creator and founder of Traffic Sales and Profit. We help black entrepreneurs build their businesses. Let me give you this in a nutshell. Also the co-founder with my lovely wife, Ronnie, who's not on with me today, right? But we co-founded 12 years ago, blackandmarriedwithkids.com, the world's largest African-American marriage and parenting site to uplift, support, and encourage marriage in the black community. We make no bones about that, right? Some people outside the community have problems with it. We don't care. Some people in the community have problems with it. We don't care. We ain't been caring. We've been doing this. All right.
Yeah.
I'm joined right now with Coach P, right, a.k.a. Precious Bivings from Surrender, Work, Live, Coaching, and Accountability. We're talking about how you guys can process all the things you may be feeling. What are the things you can do? How can you move forward? And then we got two additional guests coming up in just a moment as well to talk about more. Coach P, so I think what you said was important, right? Because I think there's a thing, right? Like I said, like where I think everyone is looking for what are the ways I can impact and contribute more. And that's amazing. But, right, while we should look to encourage people to do more, I don't think shaming them to do more actually works, right? We shame other people in our community. I would say, how can we inspire them to do more? I would say, what is the actual, can we create actual paths for them to do more? So that maybe everybody isn't an actual leader to stand in the front, but if the leaders step up and create a path and a vehicle for other people to get on board, then perhaps they'll get on board with it that way. And I also want to draw a line and distinction, right? And I told y'all, everything you hear today, you may not agree with. I'm sorry, we're being real. But, right, just because people talking on Facebook do not mean they are doing anything. And I don't know how to be more clear about that. And I'm making a distinction, right? I have no problem with people voicing themselves and voicing their emotions or whatever. But what I think was easy to get caught up with on social media is that, all right, if somebody is talking a lot on Facebook or on Twitter or Instagram, and these other people are not, then the other people must not be in action. And what literally could be happening is that the other people are in action and don't have time to be on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, pontificating about everything that can happen. So not that is wrong, but like, again, I want to make sure that we are supporting and encouraging and holding each other up and not tearing each other down about what we actually perceive people may or may not be doing without having any idea in the world what's actually going on. And without realizing the fact that, like I said, we all process these things differently. We all take it in differently, and it all comes back out of us in a different manner. And what that help and support looks like is different from us all. And Coach P, if I can think about it, right, what it reminds me of is, a lot, I talk about business and stuff like that. And even on hardcore entrepreneurship, and I want to build all these 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure beyond black businesses, I also realize that there's a place for us and for those who take the corporate route. I realize that there's a need for people to go in and break down glass ceilings and for them to rise. So while I'm coming from the outside leading through entrepreneurship, I need brothers and sisters that's about it, that have MBAs, because I sure ain't got one, that have doctorates, right?
That's right.
And that are going through the front door while I'm coming from the side, right, and building my thing up next door. I want them to be able to go through the front door, go through the ranks, and become CEOs of traditional businesses that and given access that we normally wouldn't have access to before. So everybody has a different path and different partners to play. I want to make sure people realize that. And I think the goal is for you to figure out what your actual path is and to do something.
Absolutely.
To do something. And judging people on social media ain't something. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
Coach P, those are not the words of Coach P. She did not approve or vet that.
But I'm in 100% agreement of it, 110% agreement of it, because what I do believe is that we actually do the movement more harm than good when we use our energy to judge and chastise people who are not showing up in a way that we are. So I agree with you 110%. And I also would like to say, in terms of like how we show up, for everybody who's joining, thank y'all for being a part of this conversation. What's necessary from my perspective for us, right? Because I'm not gonna be, you won't see me on news with a sign. You won't see me marching down the street. Not at this time. That may change later, right? But my greatest use of my time and energy to add to our collective is making sure that we, one, know that we're worthy to show up in this space regardless of what we see on TV, regardless of what we see on news, that we know that we're entitled to live a delicious, successful, abundant life experience, that we know that we don't have to train our children. No longer is it necessary to continue to use that same previous a mindset of thought that we have to train our children to be to work double time smarter and to be double smart and work harder just to be added to or fit into their society or their narrative, whoever they are. But that we show our children excellence from the inside out, from our household up, that they see us owning and being in this space of creating for ourselves. And then not only that, right? Also, because we have the capacity, because we're in abundance, is to show up in this space where we honor, respect, and love our culture, and also collaborate with those outside of our culture when necessary. I think that's also a part of this, because in this, I've heard a lot of people say, Lamar, like, man, I feel like I can't trust white people right now. I feel like I can't do business with white people right now. I feel like, this is not going to be a space where I can continue to bring white people as a part of my team, as a part of my business. And the biggest part about that is when you understand that you are in abundance, you can do both. No different than as a mom to my teenage daughter. I'm going to make sure that in my household, Brittany is fed and she eats first, right? That's how I see our Black community, as a thought leader, as a mindset performance coach, as somebody who is in this industry. I show up in this space of honoring our community and our needs, because my perspective is unique in that way to and for and about us. And then anybody else can most certainly get it, but I'm going to feed my household first. I'm going to feed my daughter first, and then I'm going to make sure y'all kids get it, right? And so it's the same thing within us, that we have the capacity not to have to choose my Blackness or a collaboration with someone who doesn't look like me, but that we can also still take the time to recognize that Black lives do matter, that this issue is one that heavily impacts us, and that also, when the time is right and necessary, when we need to, we can collaborate with those outside of us without holding on and hoarding this energy of hate and this energy of frustration toward an entire race or culture of people, no matter if it's Asian, Caucasian, Hispanic, whatever that is. But when we come from this very limited place, when we come from this very and or place, then it limits our opportunity to expand and impact the very movement that we care so much about. And so I think it's super important for us to be willing to show up in this space of honoring and owning where you individually are. And for one, being okay with it not looking like what someone else is saying they're doing on social media. Because whatever you can do on social media cannot far pass or supersede what you can actually do in your everyday life. That is the point I want to make.
I love it. Let me know if y'all are getting this. Hey, if you are, do me a favor, drop some comments, drop some emojis or something down below, give us some hearts, some likes or something. Also want to make sure you're sharing this conversation on your page. We're just getting started. I got two more heavy hitters coming to the stage. Like I said, we want to help you guys process and get through this, everything that's going on, everything that you're feeling, everything that you're dealing with, the frustration, the anger, the hurt, the pain, the fear, whatever you got. We want to make sure we help you get to a better place by the time we're done with this conversation today. And we know that everything will not be done, everything will not go away, but we want to make sure we are productive, right? Productive in this actual conversation as we move forward. And Coach P, as you were saying that, something that thank you, Donna. Thank you, Victoria, right? See everybody in the chat. Something that struck me too, right? As we going through this, I want people to know that, like I said, I want everybody to aspire to do more, whatever more is on your level. But again, right, I want people not to know that I don't care what people are saying on Instagram. I don't care what people are saying on Twitter or Facebook, right? If protesting is your thing and you want to be out there, don't let nobody make you feel like like your protesting is in vain, right?
That's right.
If I can say that.
That's right.
If donating money is what you want to do or part of what you want to do, don't make anybody let you feel like that's not what you should be doing or that's not enough. Because believe me, like money's going to be needed.
Absolutely.
Like money is going to be needed in any struggle, any part of the process, right? It's somebody that got to come through and write some checks.
Absolutely.
To create some things.
Yeah.
To secure some things, to get some people out of situations that they're in, right? Money
Absolutely.
is actually needed. I want to make sure that nobody, and I don't say, because people gonna say this stuff no matter what, right? But the thing is, I want you guys to have the mental fortitude that you can shut people off and you do what you got to do for you, your family, and this community, right? So that don't let anybody make you feel bad for having empathy for business owners that lose their businesses, right? Because I know that's the big thing. Like, oh, we shouldn't care. Now I care. I care that people losing their businesses when I see a black brother crying because of everything he put into his business and his business is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know how hard it was for that brother to get financing, to get funding, to fight with the banks.
Yeah.
And even though all his financial stuff was probably straight, to still try to convince them and beat them down that, yeah, my financials is straight. Yeah, my profit and loss is good. Yeah, my credit's straight. Why the hell is still hard for me to get this actual loan?
Absolutely.
And still get it, and for him to lose it. So do I got empathy for him? Yeah. Right? I know how hard. You can say, well, who care about the businesses? Let me tell you this. Like, the only business getting burned down ain't all big conglomerates and corporations.
Exactly.
It's black women out here getting their businesses burnt down. So can you have empathy for them? Yeah, don't let anybody tell you or let you think that you can't have empathy for people that are out here that are trying to do their best every day in life. Because I know out there it's a sister whose business got burnt down, whose business got looted or tore up, and it might not even been by a different black person, but that's a different conversation.
Exactly.
But, right, that's a different conversation. It
Yeah.
might have been somebody white threw the brick through that window, but that's a different conversation. But I know somewhere, right, like I've literally, it's sisters out here whose businesses are being turned down, and I work with sisters who building businesses every day, so I know what they put into it. I know the sacrifices they make. I know the financial sacrifices. I know the sacrifices in the lives of their families and their children they make to show up every day for that business. So if I look at that business and know that these sisters already been hurt because of COVID, already been hurt because of the economy, and then they lost everything. You say, well, Lamar, guess what? Well, them black women, they should have insurance, right? But I know also the small businesses a lot of times are underinsured.
Absolutely.
So even if they get the insurance money, it's not enough to actually backfill and put everything back in that store, and that salon, in that whatever it is that they had before. I know also that some of these black sisters could easily be, or black men could easily be single parents, like the single parent household I grew up in. And I couldn't imagine if my mother had a business, then one day that business was gone like that. On the heels of COVID, on the heels of the economy and everything else, and everybody telling her she shouldn't be tripping.
Exactly.
So can you have empathy? Yeah. Don't let nobody tell you can't. Man, who cares? And this what I'm going to say. Coach P, normally I don't talk this much during interviews. You got to excuse me.
No. I'm glad. Go for it.
But this is what I'm going to say, man. Who cares what people are saying on social media? Right? Like I said, you find the lane for you to step up and do more. And I want to encourage all of you to just do that. Step up and do more. Say, where's my lane? Where can I fit? Like, where can I be of value? And who cares what anybody else's opinion of it is? Who cares if you don't come on and you ain't, and let me give you permission right now. You ain't got to come on social media and tell nobody Nathan that you're doing. Not a single daggone thing in order to make somebody else feel better or to validate them in all the crap they got going on in their lives about what they should think. Because again, most of the people talk the loudest ain't doing nothing, ain't been doing nothing, and after this ain't going to do nothing. And even if they doing nothing now for a minute, 2 weeks from now they'll be done. I'm not supposed to be talking. I'm supposed to be interviewing. I'm sorry. I got nothing. Look, I just took all your time up. I'm sorry. We got to come back. So, all right. Give some people. I know I saw earlier down in the comments. Some people they wanted to know like what are some action steps or things they can do, because you talked about them processing the movement. Like, what are some actual things they can do, P?
Yeah. Don't try to cut me off, Lamar, because you went ham just then. You had to bring it in, and I'm glad you did. I'm so glad you did, because I think it's necessary for us to hear that. And I agree 110%. That just like we've shared, if y'all just joining and you missed what I shared on the first half, you're gonna have to hit the replay, because Lamar does have other speakers coming. But I want y'all to know that whatever you're feeling, it's okay. That's number one. But the way a few things that you can do, and please somebody type this in the comments, right? Number one is disconnect when you need to, right? That's the first thing. If you need to disconnect from the news, from social media, from conversations with family and friends, neighbors, whatever it is, it's okay for you to disconnect. Number two, connect, right? Connect with the people, the groups, the conversations, the collectives, the family members that uplift, that help fill your cup, that help take your your energy from having to focus in on what's happening. My brain is going. Lamar done got me fired up, y'all. So make sure that you show up in that space where you connect with those things, those situations, those people, the literature, the podcasts that fuel you positively, right? Is enough information that's going to get you fired up and get you ready to go. So when necessary, disconnect from that and connect with those things that you need. The other thing is gain clarity, right? Like I said, whatever your current genius is, black entrepreneur, black business, black corporate exec, black manager at McDonald's, the janitor at the high school, the principal, from the least to the greatest of them, no matter what, the sanitation workers, right? No matter what your position is, your contribution is super important to what it is that we're doing. How you show up, the bus drivers, the teachers, how you show up is super important. So make sure that you gain clarity on what your contribution already is, right? Because you may have a feeling of like, man, I need to do more. I need to do more. But the truth is, if you take a look at what you're doing and you start to amplify that, you'll find most times that you're already doing enough. Just keep going higher in your own genius and in your own role and responsibility that you currently possess. And that's okay. And it is enough. The other thing is meditate, right? Go outside. Yesterday, I took my shoes off, found some shade in my backyard. I put my feet to the ground and I got grounded. I prayed, I meditated, I listened to my playlist that really takes me to that space, right? So show up in that space of using meditation, prayer, whatever your thing is, right? And then also therapy. Lamar is bringing on some amazing guests to talk about therapy, but I am a coach. I am a mindset performance coach in this personal development industry. And I have an amazing sister of a therapist. And she's not my sister, but she's a therapist who is a sister. And the conversations that we get to have in my sessions about myself as a black leader, as a black thought leader, and how I get to show up in this space at large is important. And so make sure that you show up. And if you already have a therapist, make sure that you take advantage of that and connect with coaches and leaders who are already in this space. And then also give money, right? To Lamar's point, if money is your thing, by all means, give it. A part of my contribution to this is also mindset and perspective and creating safe space for us to be unapologetically black and to say what it is that we feel and that we need to say in this world at large. But also I contribute financially. Yesterday I gave to an organization called Until Freedom, sent them a cash out because they're out in Minneapolis protesting and being arrested, and they're hungry and they need food and they need water and they need money for legal representation. So I shot them a cash app. That is my contribution. And so my daughter said, hey, Mom, are we going to go in March? No, I'm not going to go in March because my contribution is this. But we also want to send love and light to those who are out there. So I want you to hear more than anything today that just because how you're showing up is different than other people doesn't mean that you're not showing up at all. And what you're doing is absolutely enough.
I love it, y'all. I hope you got all of that. Again, thank you, Coach P, for joining us, aka Precious Bivings. Hey, Coach P, where can they find you, or if they want more information or they just want to connect with you, be encouraged by you, where can they actually find you at online?
Yeah, I have an amazing, beautiful community that is over 1,100 risk-taking, manifesting life creators called the MASH Collective. That's MASH, and it's the MASH Collective on Facebook. So if you guys go over there, I'm giving the goods every single day to help us shift our perspective, our mindset, and raise the collective cultural vibration of self-love, self-honor, and self-worth for us, by us.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach P. We appreciate you. We got to have you back on soon. You know that. So thank you. Have a great day. We appreciate you.
Thank you.